More news has dropped on the Battlefield 1 website, giving us insight into the maps that we are going to receive with the game, and also the first free DLC that you've probably heard about already, Giant Shadow. Now, the maps that we've already seen are Sinai Desert and St. Quentin Scar. We saw St. Quentin Scar in the alpha and Sinai in the beta. We were also given information on Amiens, Monte Grappa and Empire's Edge. I've been over these in an earlier video that will be linked on screen now. Since then, however, and actually dropping today, we were given information on 4 more maps. These were Ballroom Blitz, Argonne Forest, Fao Fortress and Suez Canal. These were the maps that were actually leaked, although the Ballroom Blitz one has a slightly different name, but it is based in exactly the same place. Again, I have made a video on this before if you want some historical background to the actual area. Now let's focus on the 4 new maps, and firstly, Ballroom Blitz. Quoting from the Battlefield website, they ask you to join the final offensives along the Meuse River in 1918. Here, fist fighting in trench lines is quickly replaced by the untouched beauty beyond hell. A massive French chateau, previously home to officers beyond the rear lines, is now the scene for a battle with both tanks and flamethrowers. The chandeliers are shaking from the barrage as the American forces push for the final railway hub at the edge of this map. Key things to take away from this: French and US soldiers will be fighting against German soldiers. Whether we actually get to see the French in this one, I'm not really too sure, or will they be available in the DLC. And then we are going to see, obviously, the railway hub, probably another behemoth in the form of a train. I'm pretty excited for this one because there's a bit more about the map than the Sinai Desert map, which was very open. This one should be quite close quarters. I'm thinking this will be fairly similar to the outside of Metro. Remember those buildings and how there's a lot of vertical gameplay, but also a lot of buildings with windows and lots of access points in, things like that. It could be interesting to see how they incorporate tanks into this map as well. The second map I'd like to look at is Argonne Forest. The shadowy depths of the Argonne Forest is the scene for some of the most brutal close-quarter combat in Battlefield 1. The world inside this forest features devious defensive setups combined with a labyrinth of bunkers and machine gun nests, camouflaged field guns firing at point-blank range, stormtroopers clearing out bunkers with gas, and the best use of sharpened spades will determine who owns the depths of this forest. Heroes are forged surviving the intensity of this infantry-focused map. Things to take away from this one: infantry focused. Will we see any vehicles in this map? I'm thinking we'll see a couple of little jeeps and things like that, but nothing on the scale of Sinai Desert. Also, it's quite interesting to see in the photograph that there is a railway track. This will probably link to an armoured train, of course, as we're going to see a behemoth, but could they also have an airship on this, or could they have a combination of the two? We'll have to wait and see. Also, they say combined with a labyrinth of bunkers and machine gun nests. This is also very interesting because maybe we could see some points, especially in a rush game mode or an operations game mode, that are something slightly different to what we've seen, with machine guns in bunkers that will actually be useful. If you remember in Battlefield 4, the standalone weapons are pretty much useless and very exposed in games of rush, and although they can be fun, they're not really something that you fight with your teammates in order to get control of. So I'm hoping that that will lead to some new gameplay and something a bit different from BF4. Next up is Fao Fortress. Join one of the earliest amphibious landings of the Great War as the British Empire struggles to secure the oil on the Al Faw Peninsula. The majestic Ottoman fortress of Fao guards the entrance and is not falling uncontested. Here you will fight through marshlands and dunes, over bridges and shallow coves. The assault finally enters the ancient fortress itself. The quest for oil begins here. The dreadnought needs to feed. Big thing to take away from that is the dreadnought. Again, you can't see it in the map, but we definitely saw it in the trailer. A massive ship with a load of guns on it. We're going to see that completely demolishing people who are unlucky enough to be in its way. Going to be very, very good at turning the match around. Again here, we will see British forces versus the Ottoman Empire as we saw in the beta. Finally, let's take a look at Suez. A struggle for the most vital supply line of World War I. Even though it was considered impossible, the Ottomans crossed the desert of Sinai and threatened the canal. Join the fight by the banks of the Grand Canal and make tactical use of the dunes. Fight through shallow defences with field guns or mortars, through the outskirts of Kantara and into the deep desert beyond. Pretty cool to think about that. We're going to be seeing some defence lines, as it says, shallow defensive, field guns and mortars, so maybe some gameplay that's going to be quite stale in terms of movement, but we're going to be seeing some sniping from defence to defence. But also it's interesting to see that we've got the canal as well, with the dunes offering some cover just behind that. Again, in the picture you can see a large boat. That will probably suggest that there'll be a dreadnought in this one as well. However, there was historically a train line that ran alongside the canal, so we could possibly see the armoured train in addition to that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it and check back here for upcoming Battlefield 1 news. They'll be releasing lots of different stuff. It's also worth checking out the website as well, as they have announced a couple of new game modes, one of which revolving around a pigeon. Thanks again for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.